Greetings, YouTube. Going to do a tutorial on the IXEG 737-300 Classic. This is the quick start tutorial, and hope you enjoy this this brief video. This will be a video in a series of videos where we will go through the different procedures and operations of the 737-300 Classic. First one, as I said, will be a cold and dark start. This is kind of the abbreviated start, just to get you going. Next video we'll go into operation with regards to taxiing, ground control, and takeoff. And then in the third video, we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll talk about navigation, autopilot, that type of thing. So, yeah, I think I'll keep adding to this video series as we go along. Appreciate you joining me today. Again, my name is John Fly. Some of you may know me from twitch.tv. If you don't, I highly recommend going to twitch.tv/JohnFly. That's JONFLY, and I'll put a link. Maybe I'll put a link right here. Yeah, twitch.tv/JohnFly. All right, without any more delay, yeah, we'll take a quick look at the outside of the IXEG 737-300 Classic. I'm using a Southwest livery. The plane comes with many liveries from different airlines around the world, but this one is a livery from Cranky 65. So check out Cranky 65 liveries. You can find him on Facebook and elsewhere. He does great work. So inside the cockpit, we will go to right now. We're sitting at Los Angeles International Airport. I'm running my ForeFlight on the iPad here, so I can look at various things, but that won't be as much related to this tutorial, with it being for cold and dark. We are monitoring the weather though. So, first step, we go to the overhead panel and we select battery on, which is right here. Battery on. We immediately scroll down to the APU and we hold down the APU for 2 seconds and let go. This should start to move. Well, we didn't quite do it. Let's try it again. There we go. Hold it down. APU engine gas temperature starts to move. Once this gets up and stabilizes, we will then have the ability to turn on the APU generator. And what the APU is it is the auxiliary power unit. It's basically a small engine on the back of the plane that runs on the fuel and will give you power to the plane if you're not connected to ground power, or ground power meaning power that's available at the airport on site, either by plugging into an outlet there at the gate or a ground power unit. So we'll go ahead and turn on the APU gens, and that will start to power the aircraft off of the auxiliary power unit. We'll come over here to the fuel pumps, and we'll go on all of the fuel pumps. Some Boeings in the past have talked about using just the left aft pump while the APU is on, but in this particular plane you want to turn all of the fuel pumps on. We'll then come up to the yaw damper, turn the yaw damper on. We'll then scroll over to the hydraulics over this way, engine, electrical, A and B on. Then we'll turn the APU bleed to on. And we'll turn, these other bleeds are on already. We'll turn the packs to off, which they are. And we'll take the, the isolation valve is on auto, so that's good. This is a very important step. What we're going to do next is we're going to go and align the IRS. So up here, way up here, I will reposition the camera. We have the IRS alignment panel. So this is a very important step. When you take this and you scroll over to nav, let's say you accidentally go all the way over to ATT and then back to nav. Well, I've been told that you will potentially have problems. And so as according to the experts, you're supposed to take this all the way back to off. You take it all the way back to off and you wait for the lights to extinguish before you go back to nav. And some people have found problems if you don't do this. So I'll scroll then slowly with the mouse over to nav on both nav, and we'll let those go from on DC over to align. It takes about 13 minutes before your IRS, your nav is aligned. So next we'll go down to the FMS, and we will program in we'll go over here to our IXEG menu, and we'll bring on ground services. And in here it says we have a gross weight of 47. So we'll type in 47. Oh, it wants us to enter the IRS position. I forgot about that part. So we go over here, and on the position init page, if we go next page, you'll see GPS left has a longitude and latitude. If we click this button here, it'll copy it down below. And then we go back to the previous page and we set that in the IRS position. Our reference airport today is Los Angeles International, so KLAX. Put that up into the reference airport area. And then we'll click on route. KLAX is the origination airport. Today our destination will be Las Vegas, so KLAS and destination there. We won't be putting in a company route, flight number, etc. at this point. But we will click on the departures and arrivals page. If I'm going too fast, feel free to pause the video once in a while, especially if you're following this along while you're flying the plane or setting up the plane. We'll click on the departures, and we're going to go and hit the next page, and we'll choose the Loop 8 departure with a Daggett transition. We're going to be taking off. I'll quickly look where we are on the airport. We're over here on the north side, so we'll be taking off from 24 left. And then we'll click on departures and arrivals again, and we'll go to KLAS. And we'll choose the Kepik 3 star, which is this, the arrival, with a Daggett transition. And we'll be landing on ILS 25 left. You can choose a transition, but in this case, we'll leave that unactivated. We'll go to the legs page. We'll see here that we have a good legs page here on the first page for that SID, that standard instrument departure out of Los Angeles. We'll keep scrolling down here looking at the different waypoints. We're looking for any break, and there we have our first break, which is called a route discontinuity. We click on Shand, which is the waypoint below, and we click on there, and that gets rid of the discontinuity. Everything else looks good. We click Activate and then Execute. We then click back to the initial reference page, and let's go to our performance. So in the performance tab here is where we're going to put in this gross weight that we get in the ground services menu. So we'll type in 47 in the gross weight. That's going to give us a zero fuel weight of 40, which matches the zero fuel weight that's referenced in the ground services menu here on the IXEG. We'll type in 2 for our reserves. Our cost index you can leave the same as 20. We'll be cruising at flight level 290, or otherwise known as 29,000. So you can type in 290 and it's going to put in FL or flight level 290. And we can execute that now. We go to N1 limit. We're going to leave this as a this setting for your takeoff. You can select different D-rate takeoffs and different power settings, but I'll leave that all default, and I'll click on the takeoff button. This is very important. See how the 5 is very small. So we'll click on 5 and we'll make that large. And then we'll click on our V speeds, V1, VR, and V2. So there we are. So the FMS has been turned on. We'll come up top and we'll turn on the anti-collision light is on. And then we're going to go through and do an engine start. So on the left side, we'll drag this button over to ground. We'll immediately pop down to our fuel cutoff. We're looking for this N2 to go to 22, and then we can add fuel. Need to program a little. Well, let's do this. It's at 22 now, so we'll take this and we'll add. We'll go from cutoff up to idle, and that's going to add fuel to the engine. And it looks like it's a proper start at this point. I'm going to create a little bit better view for me to be able to see both the engine and the idle cutoff buttons. So we'll make that that particular. So now if I go from here, I can quickly go back to that view. All right, so that engine will click back to off. Looks like it's stabilized. We'll go ahead and click ground here on the first engine. Come back down here to our newfound view. We're waiting for this to go to the N2 to go to 22%. And then again, we will add fuel here on with the number 1 lever. And there we add fuel. We'll let that stabilize. On the outside, you can see we've got engine starting. Okay, it's stabilizing, so we'll come back over here to the overhead, and we will turn on gen on the right, gen on the left. So now we're running on the engines. We'll come up here and turn on some window heat. And I've heard 2 different conflicting reports on the pitot static heat. Some say that you need to wait until you're taxiing before you turn on the pitot static heat because they want some airflow over the pitot static heat because it gets really hot. So we'll turn our APU bleed off. We'll turn these bleeds stay on. And we'll go ahead and turn our APU itself off. That may be at a different point in the checklist, but the other thing we're going to do is we're going to come down here I need to set up a view for this, but we're going to take our flaps and we're going to move them to flaps 5, which I can also do with my SciTech panel. And we're going to flaps 5. So there, we have a 737-300 ready to taxi. That is your quick startup tutorial for the IXEG 737-300. Please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel here below, and also, again, check out my live streams on twitch.tv/JonFly. That's JONFLY. Catch you in video 2 very soon.